expanding as well as anyone in the industry. His name is R.J. Young. You don't already know, he is on Twitter at RJ_Young. He's a part now of the Fox Sports family. He hosts the #1 show that's on Fox Sports. You can find him at RJ_Young, and you can also go to @#1 show to find his work there as well. RJ, how are you this morning?
I'm getting there, brother. You doing okay?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Really appreciate you joining us. Looking forward to our conversation here. One thing is I was just sort of surfing the Twitter sphere, looking at some of your thoughts and prognostications on different things. Ben and I were talking earlier in the show about college football playoff expansion. And am I correct in just sort of gleaning from a couple of the posts that you previously had that maybe 12 teams, in your estimation, may not even quite be enough?
They got 16 teams in the NBA playoffs. They're going to have 16 teams in the NHL playoffs. They got 16 teams in the Major League Baseball playoffs. And they're going to have 14 teams in the NFL playoffs. And by the way, the FCS does this thing with 24 teams, which I really love because, we got top 25 teams. And then you can use your little board to put together your one at large or even let them do the seeding. But 16 seems like the right number for me because we got 10 conferences here. I think that each one of those conference champions should have an opportunity to play for the national championship. And then you can have your 6 at-large bids. And if you want to put 6 SEC teams in there, by all means. But you better doggone well put my Mountain West, my Conference USA, my American, my Sun Belt champs in there because those teams can play a little football.
RJ, one of the things when we found out you were coming on the show today, I was talking about how fun it has been watching your personal ascent up the sports broadcasting realm, and the fact that you're a guy that, in many ways, has built something out of just grit, scrapping, trying, hard work, and credit to you for doing that. Right? Like I remember watching your YouTube videos and you podcasts. And now you have worked up to where now with Fox Sports and writing books and all of these successes, in many ways yours is one that I think many college athletes in the name, image, likeness are going to try to model and mimic. So as a guy that has done that successfully, what advice will you give, or if you had the opportunity to give advice to young athletes that are trying to monetize their name, image, likeness, how would you advise them?
Well, first I need to say thank you to you, Ben, because you had me on the show before all of this happened, and we've always been able to talk about this stuff, even talk about the expansion before they were even thinking about 12 teams, and I sincerely appreciate that. But it's a lot of this, man. It's producer Patrick Shuck going, hey, RJ, would you like to go on with Ben and the guys? Absolutely. You say yes. You say yes to as many things as you possibly can, right? And not all of those things are going to be your over-the-moon type of deals, but they are going to build relationships with people that are going to come to trust you, and you're going to have opportunities to prove. And the more opportunities you take and the more chances that you give yourself, the more chances you have to hit home runs and to take at bats, like that would be it. And I think in many ways, that's what I like most about the sport when we do it right, even on the broadcast side. Right? It's hustle, it's grind. I have this tattoo on my forearm that says Aristeia, right? It's a Greek word meaning excellence. It's a gift from Athena when you are damn near dead on the battlefield and she has seen you do your absolute best to vanquish your enemy. What I love most about that is that she ain't got to give it to you. She can run right over you and give it to somebody else. You have to be willing to sacrifice that. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and die on a battlefield, using this metaphor, so that you can achieve the greatness that you want for yourself. But because the only thing that is 100% going to happen to you if you don't is you'll fail. You'll lose. So why not give yourself an opportunity to win? And that's what I tell the kids, right? If somebody says they want to do business with you, take them at their word. Evaluate it, but take them at their word. See where it goes. This is how you do these things. It's relationship building. And I think we do that in every walk of life, Ben.
Sage words there from R.J. Young. Outstanding advice that everyone should listen to here with us on Big Ten Radio. I'm curious for your thoughts on name, image, and likeness and in the way it will reshape collegiate sports. And for me, my sensibilities, I've been hesitant about the expansion of the college football playoff because it means more enjoyment for us. It means more money for a whole lot of folks. didn't necessarily mean any more compensation for the student athletes. Now, at least with NIL being a part of the opportunities here, where do you stand on how big a chance this is for student athletes to truly have, I suppose, some level of equity in all their exploits?
Well, first, I would like to say that if you want to change the equity, just pay them. Yeah, you pay them out of the TV revenue you get. Pay them out of the bowl money you get. It's easy. It's not hard. Dabo Swinney made $9 million last year. 4 years ago, he said he wasn't going to coach if this thing happened. Still waiting on that to come through. Hey, we're just out there saying stuff, which, by the way, is some of sports talk radio. Now, you guys have been in the business long enough to know you get paid for your name, image, and likeness, too. All right? You also receive a salary. Why is that so hard to get across for kids? Like, that's the thing when they turn 18. It's not just that they can vote. It's that they can defend this country from foreign and domestic terrors. And we're telling them, hey, the name, image, and likeness thing makes us a little uncomfortable and expanding. We're trying to take care of you guys. No, you're not. We went from 10 game seasons to 12 game seasons in 2006. That's out, right? And then we expanded the playoff to where 2 teams got to play 15 games, period, right? We're 1 game away from playing an NFL regular season. I don't buy it, is what I'm saying. And I think what this is doing for me on a larger scale is really outlining this infantilized relationship that college football fans have with players that I think needs to go away. As soon as you start to think about them as regular employees, soon as you start to think about them as needing a union, as negotiating their contracts, they become people to you because that is something that you do, right? That is something that we do. And I think for them, it's going to work the same way. If you come up in local sports talk radio, like I did, you understand every opportunity ain't going to be Dunkin' Donuts, right? It might be Graves Satellite or whatever. But that's how you do this. Like, I don't see the problem here. I really don't. I'm getting a little emotional, and you guys know that. I'm an emotional person. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. But this is really, I think, cut and dry and easy. It's just that we have a lot of people that don't want to spread the money around, which I think is really the problem here.
RJ, high school sports in Oklahoma is a big deal. Texas high school sports is a big deal. There's money being made in high school stadiums in the state of Texas. I'm not sure specifically to Oklahoma. How long before they get paid? How long before they start asking for their slice of the pie at the high school level?
Hey, I got my first job when I was 14 years old, pushing a cart at a grocery store called Reezer's. As soon as they are able, if the sport can make money for somebody, it can make money for all bodies. I'm not going to put a cap on this. I'm going to see what the market says because that's where we live, right? And then you'll pay accordingly. And to really outline this, right? There are about 1,600 players in the NFL. We've got way more teachers, right? Would we want to put a value on our teachers as opposed to a player in the NFL? Yeah, we do. We do it every day. Now, intrinsically, those teachers are more valuable to us. Extrinsically, those NFL players are more valuable to us, and we can see that by where our attention and our money goes. So, Ben, I'm willing to have that conversation with you, but I don't think that most people want to see where that goes.
Because it's the monetization of everything in life, right? Like we're heading towards a world where everything has a dollar value, and you, whether all the way down to youth sports, if there's a dollar to be made, whether it's the concession stands at the T-ball field, that may, like, if you play this out to its nth degree, then like you say, we're started working at 14. Then if there's money being made at the local rec league, then that should be spread among the ones who are performing the sport.
Well, and my argument really gets into what does the market bear, right? We've seen a Tom Brady rookie card go for millions of dollars. It's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. And I think one of the other things you're going to find out is exactly what people are willing to pay for. And it ain't as much as people think. Just because you put a dollar sign on something doesn't mean that anybody wants to buy it. And I'm not saying that to make it that simple, as much as I'm saying it to say, hey, man, if you take this back to how much are you willing to pay for a gallon of milk, this makes all the sense in the world.
So I'm sorry, Anthony. One last follow-up. Sorry, Anthony. I'm kind of hogging the conversation here. My question for you, is there ever a time where money shouldn't be the motivator? Is there an industry, a sport? Anthony kind of started this conversation earlier. I talked about doctors. I don't want my doctor buying his scalpels based on which one he can get the best value for. I want the doctor that has the most expensive scalpel. I don't want a doctor that's motivated by pushing a certain prescription or pushing a certain procedure just to line his pocket. The other example I came up with was the military. I don't want my soldiers being mercenaries. I don't want my snipers going to the highest bidder. There are a couple examples of institutions that I say I don't want money to be that motivating factor, and the institution of sports all the way down to the youth level is something that I think there's a rub there of should money be the ultimate factor when it comes to sports at any level.
That is the country that we live in, Ben. It is one built on capitalism. I think what you're arguing for looks a lot more like socialism. And I'm not really wanting to litigate it politically. I am saying that if that is the kind of world you want to live in, you're going to have to make everybody make the same amount of money in most cases. And if you're going to tell me that you want to live in a world where some things should not be powered by money, you're going to have to make sure there's enough money going into those institutions and systems already for everybody to feel good. And you're not going to be able to do that in a system like the one that we have.
I love it. RJ Young here with us on Big Ten Radio. Give us a...
Anthony, did I tap dance that just right or no?
Yeah, man.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I've been trying to talk sense into Hard Rock on this for quite a few months here, and he's still on this thing where coaches can make as much as they want, but the athletes, basically valuing the industry over the individual is the term I was using earlier today. So hopefully we'll just keep nurturing his mindset into a more modern way of viewing this thing. Yeah, give us a sense for the number one show, though, man. Well, what can folks view on the number one show that you have with Fox Sports?
So just because we're in the age of Google, the number one ranked show on Fox Sports. Right? I thought about it. It's my title, right? I came up with it. I'm very proud of it for obvious reasons. College football conversation, just like we're having right now. I really love what we're doing. This conversation about the nitty gritty of how this can work or should work. I think that's what the forum is for. It looks a lot like a sports talk radio show. We've had some outstanding guests here lately. Jamie Chadwell is going to talk with us on Monday about his Group of 5 experience and why he doesn't think that no matter what his team does, they're going to have an opportunity to get into a college football playoff, and he wants to, right? He wants to play for championships. Talked with Bob Stoops a couple weeks ago. That was outstanding, and I'm proud to say it was the first interview he'd given since joining Big Noon on Fox, which is our pregame college football show. I go through lists. We love lists. I did the top 10 fastest players to ever play college football according to Track and Field because we're very much in that vein. By the way, that's where I lettered, right? I lettered in Track and Field. So watching a 39-year-old man named Justin Gatlin run 9.93 in the 100 meters just does something to my soul, right? Like he's got gray hair going, nah, young fellas, get this work. So that's what we're doing, Anthony. We're having a very good time.
Well, RJ, we really, really appreciate your time here today. And also, man, congratulations on the success of your expanding brand in this industry. Can't wait to see everything you're bringing to the table, not just now, but certainly as we get towards the college football season, man. I know it's going to be outstanding.
Hey, guys, I say this a lot, but I mean it. Thank you so much for having me on. Ben, thank you for really having that back and forth with me. Anthony, thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation. I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Absolutely. We certainly will. When you're available, we will definitely make that happen. The ever-evolving world of amateur athletics, man, is a fun